This bread has nuts in it! Because we watched season 9, episode 9, The Apology. So, Katie.
Hello.
I'm sorry.
What are you on, step 9?
How'd you like The Apology?
I guess I liked it. I guess I was just sitting and watching it. Did you like it?
There were storylines that I liked. There were storylines that I didn't like.
Okay. Can I guess?
Sure.
I don't think you liked George's storyline?
I think George's storyline was fine.
Okay. Then I'm stumped.
I didn't really... So I think maybe we might need to define what we mean by storylines.
Okay.
Maybe. What is a storyline? I didn't really care. Like, I don't think Jerry's storyline really went anywhere.
No.
I didn't like the Elaine and Peggy storyline, but I like how it gave a purpose to the Kramer shower storyline.
You didn't like Elaine rubbing a keyboard on her butt?
I
know you liked Elaine rubbing a keyboard on her butt.
The way that she moved. And I feel like James, like, I think it, like, conceptually, like, George being upset about this was good, but I don't know what it was about James Spader I didn't like. Maybe it was his, I'd like to speak to the manager haircut.
It was very Karen. I thought I liked him until he got ragey in the ice cream shop.
Yeah.
I wrote down at that point, what's happening? Like, what did those kids ask for?
A scoop of some kind of flavor of ice cream.
And the other kid came in and is like, did you try it?
Mm.
Like, what? Are they trying to scam? Because the first kid, they both looked kind of urchin-y. Like they were going to pull some prank or like they were trying to cause trouble. I don't know. They looked like no good.
It was the mid-90s, Katy. Grunge was in.
So they were just like, I want to try this flavor of ice cream. The other kid's like, is it any good? That's the story?
For those kids, for the kids that had 3 lines, yeah, that completes their contribution to this story.
It was so bizarre. Maybe they were too old. Maybe I'm like, if it was a little kid going in, it would actually, if it was a younger kid, getting money to go get ice cream for the first time, and then James Spader is yelling at them.
Have him yell at a 6-year-old?
Yeah.
That's funny. Have him yelling at a
12-year-old?
Yeah, I didn't look up that kid as a guest star, but that's the kid from Roseanne.
I didn't watch Roseanne.
Why didn't you watch Roseanne? Because she ended up being a crazy MAGA right-wing terrible person?
I knew that was going to happen ahead of time. Why didn't I watch Roseanne? I think it was the same thing as sort of Married with Children, where I wasn't allowed to watch it because it was sort of rude. Wasn't it?
Not like Married with Children.
I don't know. What appealed to me as a 10-year-old to watch Roseanne? It
was on TV.
Yeah, it's true. That's like how we would just eat all of our Halloween candy if we didn't like it.
Oh my God.
I'm eating it because I earned it.
I like other ones more than this. Like, maybe I would not eat candy corn, and I wasn't really a big fan of, the caramels and the orange. Oh yeah,
the witch candies that are terrible.
Yeah.
I ate those anyway.
I probably did too, but
not the square caramels. Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
The toffees in the wax paper. Yeah.
Like, it's like an orange wax paper with like a ghost
it's the
scene.
Cheapest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those people don't care about Halloween.
No, but there's a similar looking thing, but it has a cow on it. And that is an elite candy, which I don't know if regular people had. Maybe it's just a Ukrainian thing. But sometimes you get those cow candies, and those are really good.
The milk that we use for this caramel is from the finest
I just think it didn't have
regions of the Donbass.
Molasses in it.
It didn't have molasses in it? Did the other ones do?
I think those cheapo ones do. It had... Okay, what are we talking about?
You brought up Halloween candy. I don't know why. It is neither Halloween in this episode, nor is it Halloween when we are recording.
How about that?
So the apology was written by Jennifer Crittenden. It was directed by Andy Ackerman. It aired on December 11th, 1997. Screen Crush ranked it as the 141st best episode.
Wow.
Like, very low. It only really mentioned Kramer in the shower. Vulture.com had it kind of middle of the pack at 71, saying that Elaine explaining the difference between good naked and bad naked was a highlight. And then I think they said that Kramer preparing food in the shower was so vile that the censors should have stopped the storyline from airing.
I said when they panned the camera down to the tub soup by his feet, I darn near puked.
IMDb ranked it as the 105th best episode. So everybody kind of in agreement that it's like a middle of the pack to worst episode. I felt like it was fine.
I wouldn't fight for it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think the Kramer shower germaphobe David Putty. I mean, I think David Putty is probably what saves this episode.
I have a question. I know we're jumping ahead. Why did Peggy come to Elaine and Putty's apartment for that meal?
Because they were helping her on her germaphobe journey.
And specifically that Kramer was cooking for them was going to help her? Or just like, let's take you out to dinner?
I guess.
I don't know. I didn't really get why she was there, except for story reasons.
Well, she and Elaine share a bathroom, so they're probably best friends from work.
So this was season 9, episode 9, step 9. And George mentioned 9th Avenue.
And upside down, that's 6, 6, 6, 6.
Remember when you shrunk your cashmere sweater?
I do remember when I shrunk my cashmere sweater. And my bulbous head stretched it out. No, you gave it to the dog.
Yeah, the dog wore it for a while.
I was being very polite by doing the laundry in the dark before I went to work while you were sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And I accidentally put. I'm not responsible enough to have clothing that you can't put in a dryer. Why would anybody ever have clothing that you can't put in a dryer?
Because it's so soft.
Okay, but no. I think you can have clothing that you can't put in a dryer, but you also should not wash that clothing yourself. Oh,
it's dry clean only?
Yeah.
Interesting. You're against the drying rack.
I'm pro drying rack, but you got to be like drying rack everything.
So you're talking about separate basket for just like special clothes that don't go in the dryer. That maybe you do them all together. Oh,
no. I mean, I think we should air dryer clothes more often.
Okay.
For like environmental reasons.
Oh, so drying rack everything.
Right, but also don't have clothes that can't go in the dryer in case you don't drying rack everything.
Oh my God.
Because you're in a rush.
How about I throw it back to last week when I asked you if you remembered this episode?
George's friend is going through...
I don't know what this hand motion means.
The 7 steps of AA. And he has to...
12?
The 12 steps of AA.
Well.
I think I nailed it. What did I say at the end? I talked about George...
I don't know.
Stretching out the sweater. And then I said something else.
We're not cutting back in real time. I can't remember what you said last week.
Okay.
I'll read the synopsis. Jerry's girlfriend is naked all day. George clashes with a friend who is in recovery. Kramer changes his shower habits. Elaine's coworker hates germs. That all happened.
Yep.
Have you ever used a seat liner? You don't see them a lot anymore.
No, you don't. I mean, I've definitely done the like toilet paper on the thing, and then I realized like I'm not so good enough that I can't in a disgusting place.
I have done the toilet paper, but in the gap. I don't know why a seat has a gap, but in the gap area.
Sure, yeah.
Like if there's water on the seat, if someone is clearly pissed on the seat, I will go to a different.
For sure, yeah.
But like if water splashed from a flush, I will wipe it with toilet paper. But sometimes that gap area is so dirty and like also wet that I'm like, I don't want to put my hand in there.
Why are you putting your hand anywhere near there?
To wipe it.
Oh, no, you got to stand and wipe.
What are you talking about? The seat.
Why are you touching the seat at all?
I just said if there's water on the seat, I will wipe it off before sitting down.
But there's a gap there, so it's part of the... like, you don't touch the toilet bowl.
I know, but I guess it's part of the environs. And so I put toilet paper over that gap and sit on the rest of the seat.
Okay. I used to do that too, but I have different anatomy than you. And it would get like, it gets too close.
Well, I just think
but then I remember,
I don't want to see it. I don't want to be near it. You know
the germs don't jump into your eyes if you look at them, right? It's not Medusa.
Listen, women who squat because they don't want to sit on a toilet seat think that toilet seat germs are going to jump up their butts. So my thing is not as bad as that thing.
Were we listening to a podcast together about the virologist, and the podcast host asked him, like, what is his public bathroom procedure?
Yes.
And he talked about how he holds his breath the entire time he's in a public washroom.
Yeah. How long do you take a shower for?
I'd say like 10 minutes max, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did have a roommate in university who, after living with him, it wasn't like initially. At some point, he decided he was going to shower for longer periods of time, but less frequently.
Oh, I don't think it works that way.
If it all averages out over the course of the week, I guess. He grew his hair really, really long, and so he said he had to it took him too long to wash his hair. So he would take 3 showers a week, but they were all 45 minutes to 1 hour long.
It doesn't work like that at all.
I don't know what to tell you.
My roommates in university were so cheap, they didn't want us to heat our apartment because it was too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But then to warm up, they had super long showers. And I was like, where do you think the hot comes from in the shower?
It comes from the tap that you turn.
What heats up the water in the tap? The gas.
It doesn't need to be heated up. It comes out hot already, Katie.
Oh, God.
The amount of consumption is trivial in comparison to all of the fees and the delivery costs and all of that. So it doesn't really matter how much gas you're using.
I got in so much trouble with those crackheads for turning the thermostat up a degree.
Mm.
They would hear me walking around upstairs and then poke their heads out and be like, you touched the thermostat. They still owe me money.
Mm.
Anyway, I know I've talked about this before.
Yeah. Is that why I always have to turn down the thermostat 1 degree? Because it magically goes up when I'm not watching?
The house thinks that the house is empty when you leave. So if you leave, the house is like, there's nobody here. We can go to eco temps.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting around shivering, wearing mittens inside in the springtime.
Mm-hmm. We're saving the planet. You can add your phone to the thing that knows if you're home or not.
Sometimes technology goes too far.
You have opted out of that.
Just run the program.
You opted out.
We set a program. Just run the program. Who cares if I'm here or not? Just run the program I told you to run.
Mm-hmm.
AI, this is going to get us all.
This isn't AI.
But it's a slippery slope. The thermostat doesn't think I'm a person.
It thinks you're a person. It just doesn't care that you're a person.
So Jerry's girlfriend is naked. They don't really talk about why she's naked. Is she naked? I assume she doesn't go out in the world naked. Nudists wear clothes outside, right? They're just
I
nude
think she's just like, I'm going to hang out in the nude at home. I don't know why that was so awkward.
Because it is awkward. So Jerry's freaked out because he's seen unseen muscles springing into action when she coughs or tries to open a jar.
A full body flex on a pickle jar. Ooh, I got a welt.
She seems like kind of a simpleton. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it is doing a little bit of the dumb women are sexy thing.
Or we've written this conceit for her. We don't need to write her any dialogue.
Oh, sure, yeah. Also that.
I mean, this episode was written by a woman, so
It's feminist then. I mean, it is talking about women, their bodies are works of art and men are jeeps.
yeah. The male body is utilitarian.
Some women like it.
Sickos.
I think she actually says sickies.
Sickies. Yeah,
which
I didn't
is
like
weird.
that.
Yeah.
Elaine's dialogue in this episode is not super great either. Yeah, I thought at times I was distracted by what Elaine was saying in not a good way.
Oh, we didn't do the guest stars.
Let's do that. So who are the guest stars?
So we had a few returning guest stars, such as Peter Warburton, Megan Cole, who played Peggy.
Is it Patrick Warburton?
I just assumed. John O'Hurley, who I originally wrote down as James O'Hurley. Apparently, I don't care about first names. There was also Wayne Wilderson, who played Walter, who was the guy in Elaine's office that Peggy drinks a bottle of water from. However, we had Kathleen McClellan, who played Melissa. She was in The Bold and the Beautiful, Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. And then I looked through, she was in a couple of movies and stuff, and she did, an episode of this and that. She was also in a bunch of episodes of Suddenly Susan. Do you remember that TV show with, it was my introduction to Brooke Shields and probably Kathy Griffin?
Oh, I never watched it.
Oh. And then James Spader was also in this episode. Played Jason Hankey. He was in a bunch of movies, but he was also in TV shows like The Blacklist, Boston Legal, and then he was in a surprisingly large number of episodes of The Office as Robert California.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I'd stopped watching it at that point, but I was aware of Robert California.
It was in later seasons. He was in 25 episodes.
Oh.
That feels like a lot.
Yeah. Who was Peggy? I know we've seen her before.
She was who called Elaine Suze.
Yes.
Susie.
Who plays her?
Megan Cole.
Oh. Did you say that?
Yep.
Roll the tapes.
You were focused on how I called Patrick Warburton, Peter Warburton.
That's right. That fact had to get out of my brain and I couldn't get anything.
You were absolutely not listening. You're like, I can correct Derek, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I believe his first name is Patrick and not Peter.
It's important, okay? You that voice, you got to get it right.
You audibly giggled like a little schoolgirl when Putty said, "Talk to me, babe."
Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. I also looked over at you because I knew you were watching me.
Mm-hmm.
I laughed when Kramer's out taking notes on how people shower. And then he comes back with the black eye. You got a steak? Ah, that's the stuff. You got any A1 sauce? I'm cooking a steak. A different one.
That might be one of the funniest things Kramer does in the entire series. Have you ever put a steak on your face?
Well, I've never had a black eye. I feel like that's a specific black eye remedy.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's anything cold, and we have ice packs now.
Yes. I thought there was some old wives' tale about a steak specifically.
I remember hearing the iron in the steak helps get rid of the bruising or something, and I don't think it actually.
No. It's just a cold thing that shrinks your blood vessels. Yeah,
I mean, it's because it's very dense, it has a lot of heat capacity, so it works very well.
But Jerry took it out of his freezer. It would have been a hockey puck, and then it's immediately soft enough to mold to Kramer's face.
Do you think that was a real steak?
Yeah. Wasn't Michael Richards vegetarian at that point?
Oh, yeah, because we learned that in the Kenny Rogers roasters.
Yeah. I mean, he's not eating it. He's just putting it on his skin.
I'm sure vegans are fine with that.
What do vegans put on their eyes when they get black eyes?
Ice packs.
Soy patties?
Impossible burgers.
Seitan? That's very meaty texture. Apparently.
Who were we talking to about? Oh, your
our friends.
Friends, yeah. I had never heard of seitan before. I went to a church and they serve seitan.
So Kramer's in Jerry's bathroom, and I don't know if we've seen this angle in Jerry's bathroom before.
That's a good point. I don't know.
I guess we're standing on the toilet.
Yeah, I guess we are.
But
I don't know. I don't think we are. I think the toilet.
Where's the toilet? No, it's behind the door. It's beside the tub.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Anyway, so Jerry's trying to walk Kramer through his routine. And he's like, you got to let gravity help you out. You can't just wash one part of your body at a time. And Kramer says, well, that's how cats do it.
Well, you have a faucet and they have a tongue. I mean, I don't. Do you think you could spend a full hour like actually doing stuff? Like Kramer isn't like standing around waiting.
I could stand there and disassociate.
Sure, yeah.
But I'm not doing things for an hour.
Wash my hair twice or something, shave and all that.
Even a quote unquote everything shower doesn't take that long in the actual shower.
What do you mean by quote unquote everything shower?
The everything shower. No quotes. You know what I mean.
When are you not doing an everything shower?
Oh, honey.
This is different. Girl, I really believe that women can take a shower and feel completely clean and not wash their hair.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
You cannot wash your hair every day.
I do.
Not you. Long hair can't be washed every day.
Whenever I've taken a shower and been like, oh, I'm going to do it quick. I'm going to not wash my hair. Like, I'm not going to not even wash my hair. I'm not going to get my hair wet. Uh-huh. I feel like the dumbest person in the world. Like, what is the point of what I'm doing?
Because it would take you 30 seconds to wash your hair and then 30 seconds to dry it.
But even if I'm just going to wash not my hair, I'm not going to wash it. But if my hair doesn't get wet, shower doesn't happen.
Well, this is different.
What do you mean it's different? We're talking about showering. It's the exact same thing.
No, it's not. You don't have a full head of hair. And sorry. You don't have long hair. Wow, you reacted very strongly to that. To that innocent slip up.
Finally know how you really feel about me. I'm going to get that finasteride prescription.
Okay.
I have actually thought about, the like, I think in an argument, if I was arguing with someone, I wouldn't like worry about that. But if they started arguing with me and they were wrong, like if I'm arguing with someone like, oh, you're an idiot. I'm like, nah, like I can let that go. But if they're arguing with me, they're like you're going bald. Like, what do you like? That would cause me to not like. I would not be able to put that down.
You'd have to go to Rage Anonymous.
Probably not because I care about my hair, but because it's not true.
You must correct someone who is wrong.
Yeah, no matter how pedantic the error you're correcting is.
I know.
At least I haven't passed that on to our daughter. Editor's note. He has passed it on to their daughter.
I don't know what was going on when George suggested to Jerry that he get naked. You still got that belt sander? You on all fours? That thing vibrating?
I wrote down that this episode had an abnormal number of like hip shakes because it was the very next scene after Elaine like rubbed her butt on the keyboard, shaking her hips back and forth. And then George like walks to the bathroom, shimmying along.
Later on when Jerry and the naked woman are trying to talk to each other.
Melissa. She has a name, Katy.
I don't think they ever said it. And she's picturing him. She's like, what are you going to do? He's like, I don't know, maybe a haircut. And then she pictures him as the ape doing that thing with your tongue and like stretching your face out. I thought that was funny.
Jerry Seinfeld looked very simian.
It would, yeah. But Jerry Seinfeld has a fine body. I don't know what she's talking about, good naked and bad naked.
Mm.
That's not bad naked, just walking around with a belt sander.
Not walking around with it.
When he started using it, that's bad naked.
Right. But you don't have to look. Like, this is what I, like.
There's a naked woman in his apartment. He has to look.
But she starts dry heaving and he, like, continues to stare at her. He can turn away.
Maybe he's concerned for her well-being.
It's not worth looking at her. For, what was her name? Kathleen McClellan. They did not film any of her scenes in front of a live studio audience.
Oh.
Even though at no point was she actually naked.
Sure. They just thought there'd be too much hooting and hollering.
Or, I don't know.
What about Jerry's naked scene?
She was there, so there was no.
Oh,
limit.
right.
I was wondering, like, I'd like to, I mean, I probably won't do this, but I wonder if the 4K edit versus like what actually aired, like how different that made it look, and did they frame things differently? You know, she had a toe ring, very 90s.
Oh, yeah, I didn't notice, but ugh. That's kind of just all I had. It did wrap up really nicely with George going back to Ragers Anonymous and seeing Potty and Elaine and Peggy there at Germaphobes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes and yells at James Spader again.
Do you know, is Step 9 actually...
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. My only real experience with like Alcoholics Anonymous and that kind of stuff was the book A Million Little Pieces by, I don't know, whoever. It was part of like Oprah's book club.
Oh yeah, wasn't it made up?
Yeah, I read that and I was like, oh, this is an awesome book. And then I read the sequel and then it all came out that I was like, oh yeah, I just made everything up. Like,
oh. But it was a good book?
I mean, it was compelling because the author originally was like, this happened to me and it was my experience. And you're like, wow, this is harrowing. Mm-hmm. Or even harrowing. But it all being made up, you're kind of like...
See, I didn't correct you there. I let that one go.
I was being pedantic, as is my right. They would have been all in the comments complaining about how I pronounced...
Yep. Harrowing. Did Jerry get a new computer?
Oh, I don't know. Did he?
It looked different.
Was the art that was near the bike, like the scene where Melissa is like rolls out the bike after fixing it? I noticed the art that is on like that wall where the bike usually is, and maybe because the bike is usually there, I didn't notice it. But I was like, oh, is that new art? It was like a flowery.
Oh, I've never seen that. So I had some corrections. Last week we were talking about the movie Crash.
Yes.
Crash 2004 gets a 7.7 on IMDb. It's about racism. Ta-Nehisi Coates called it the worst film of the decade.
Oh.
The reason I looked this up...
Did he not have the subtitles on?
The reason I looked this up was we were talking about there being a good Crash movie and a bad Crash movie. So Crash 1996 has a 6.4 on IMDb. And it's about getting turned on by car crashes.
Oh, yeah. I watched the racism one. Wait a minute. Were you in Crash?
James Spader was in Crash.
Oh, wow. 1996 or 2004?
1996.
Oh, there you go.
What a small world. So certified mail and registered mail. Certified mail, you get proof of delivery and receipt. It goes in the regular mail stream. Registered mail gets separated.
Oh.
It's also tracked, but it's like the bags are locked up. It's all like more secure.
They give it to the good mailman.
It's significantly slower. I thought registered mail would be faster. Like, this is important. So get it there faster, but it's much, much slower. Newman says all certified mail is registered, but registered mail is not necessarily certified. And that's wrong.
Oh.
And I wonder if that was on purpose and Newman is just a bad mailman. Or they just got it wrong.
He's not a real mailman.
But did they get it wrong on purpose?
I don't think so.
Well, next week we have the strike.
Yes.
What's it about?
Possibly the most famous episode of Seinfeld. Well, do you want to know what part of it has entered the zeitgeist, or do you want to know what the strike is about?
What is the strike about?
Kramer ends, the strike's over and he goes back to work.
Wow. I know something about this episode.
Do you know what it's famous for? What do you know about this episode?
Well, I know we find out that he worked at the bagel factory.
Okay.
That's it.
What is the most famous thing that Seinfeld provided for the world?
I may have read ahead in the...
No.
But I didn't know it before, so I won't say it now.
Okay. Well, you'll forget by next week.
That's true.
It's great having a wife that's mementoed.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Believe it or not, this is our podcast. Please subscribe at the end. If you subscribed, we would be happy. Please subscribe to us. Believe it or not, it's our podcast.
Is that a Seinfeld reference?